Om Vakradunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिहि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिहि ओम। Namaste once again, everyone.
Hari Om Guruji.
Sorry.
Namaskaram, Guruji.
Namaskaram. पूर्वं जनेरपि मृतेरतनायमस्ति जातक्षणक्षणगुणो नियतस्वभावः नैको जडश्च घटवत् परिदृश्यमानः स्वात्मा कथं भवति भावविकारवेत्ता. So the seventh and the final question of the student is being answered by the Guru in these portions. Question being what? Atma Anatma Vivekah Katham. Otherwise, Panchakosha Vivekah Katham. This was the question, seventh question. And Acharya is now giving the definition of each kosha. And then he shows how each of these panchakoshas is not Atma. So, he puts forth two types of arguments, twofold arguments. One is showing that each kosha is like the external anatma, like there is no difference between the kosha and the external world. It is an object. And nobody debates that the external world is anatma. It is not the self. But the problem is, when it comes to the koshas or the sharira trayam, when the question comes whether it comes under the atma category or anatma category, there is a contention, there is a dispute. Because all along we have considered these three koshas, the five koshas, as atma only. My body, I am the body, I am the mind, I am the intellect. This is what we have been considering. Total identification with the body, mind, sense complex is what we have been having. So if you just ask somebody, who are you? He is going to identify himself with the body, mind, sense complex itself. So therefore, there is a dispute arises whether it is Atma or Anatma. And therefore, it has to be shown that each kosha is Anatma and it is not me, the Atma. So showing that each kosha on analysis is like the external world of objects is the first argument or first type of presentation. And not only that, Atma has been described in the Upanishads. So when you look at the features of Atma and those of the each kosha, we find the features are dissimilar. The features of the kosha are like the external anatma. They are unlike the description of Atma as described in the Upanishads. So therefore, each kosha should be studied or looked upon as part of the external world. So the two types of argument is, one, you have to study each kosha and come to the conclusion that each kosha is not Atma. So dismiss the Atmatvam of the koshas, and simultaneously we will have to establish what is Atma. Both are important. We have to understand what is meant by Atma by looking at what the features of the Atma which are described in the Upanishads. And in this context, we are discussing now presently the features of Annamaya Kosha, the Stula Shariram, and to differentiate from Atma, the consciousness, so that we can come to the conclusion that the Annamaya Kosha cannot be Atma given the contradictory features. So in the last class, we have seen the explanation of most of the words in this sloka. Here the Acharya is pointing out that this physical body, Janehe Purvam na asti, does not exist before the birth. Atha mritehe api na asti, does not exist after death also. So this physical body has come into existence at a particular time which we call the date of birth, and will disappear at a particular time which we call the date of death. And not only that, Jata Kshana hai, Kshana Guna hai. This physical body is gaining new attributes with the birth of every movement. Every movement, there is a change going on in this physical body. This is all we have to understand in order to contrast these features with Atma. Then the third feature he is pointing out is Aniyata Swabhavaha. It is of uncertain nature. Na ekaha. It is not a single unit but an assemblage. And jadaha, inert. So these are the features of the Annamaya Kosha which has been described. Up to this we saw in the last class. Now finally, most importantly, he says, Ghatavat Paridrishyamanaha. And this is a very, very important argument which is regularly given in the Vedanta. The body is an object of experience exactly like a pot or a chair or a table or any other object, a flower, object of experience. All these table, but everything are objects. Similarly, Shastra says this body is also an object. Because I experience a table, I experience a flower, I experience this body also. There is no difference. And not only that, when I go to dream or deep sleep, not only the objective world disappears for me, this body also disappears. I don't, in my sleep, I don't even know whether I am in this body or not. I'm not conscious of the body at all. In dream, I conduct my life with another body. I acquire a dream body in the dream. I don't use this physical body. Therefore, This body is also another object which I take on and take off or use and then disuse. Sometimes we all misuse also. That is that Vedanta doesn't talk about the misuse of the body, only disuse of the body it talks. Therefore, one who experiences an object is different from the experienced object. It's always there, isn't it? Subject-object division is always there. Subject is the experiencer, and object is the experienced. And that is why I am called the subject. Even in English language, when we see the grammar, what is the word I? Subject. And in Vedanta parlance, the word subject means an experiencer, Sakshi, who is different from the experienced, who is the witness of all experiences. So for every kosha, we give this important argument. I am aware of each of my koshas. Therefore, I am the awarer, different from the aware. I am the experiencers, different experiencer, different from the experienced. And thereafter we say, not only I am different, I should be unlike that also. Because one can be different, but could be a similar object. For example, a rose is different from a lotus, but both are flowers. Similarly, I can be different from an object, but I can also be an object only. So we have to very, very carefully, when we are arguing this, that Atma, Anatma, Viveka, we have to note all the features and see the contradictory features of the other one. Therefore, every feature of Anatma will help me to know that the Atma is something endowed with opposite features. And to understand who I am, I will take the world and look at its features and then come to the conclusion that I am opposite. The world is inert, I am sentient. World continuously changes, I am changeless. World consists of several parts, I am partless. All these I am talking about, I is all what the Upanishads say, what you are. World is the product, I am a non-product. Thus, I am different from Anatma. I am unlike Anatma. So these two powerful arguments to understand myself, to understand my features, he says, Ghatavat paridrishyamanaha. Ghatavat, like a pot, paridrishyamanaha. The body is intimately experienced by me. In fact, there are so many similarities between the pot and this body. Pot is made of clay or earth. This body is also made of earth. We're talking about the gross body. Probably that's why we say pot belly and all, right? The only difference between the pot and the body is one is a remote object, another is an intimate object. That's all. Like the spectacle example I gave you earlier also. What Vedanta says is even if it is an intimate object, it is an object only. It cannot become the subject. And sometimes those intimate objects I use as an instrument. For example, antakaranam. The word antakaranam means inner instrument only. Karanam means instrument. Like the mind is an instrument. So I cannot claim I am the mind. I have a mind I use my mind, all that claims are fine. But I cannot say I am the mind. Therefore, the Shastra uses a methodology which is called Drik Drishya Viveka. Drik, seer, Drishya, seen, differentiation between the two. When you do Drik Drishya Viveka for each object, the Drishya may keep on changing, but the Drik remains the same. The Drik, the seer, the experiencer, the witness is the Atma. All Drishya, they are all Anatma. This is the understanding we need to come to. Now, why we are doing all this? Our problem is very, very simple. We can define. We are trying to understand who am I really. Without, I would say, without admitting that I could be something other than what I take myself to be. We don't even think of that possibility. And Vedanta is all about trying to make us understand that possibility. So this Drishya Viveka also becomes very important even for practicing meditation. Vedantic meditation is all about establishing the reality of myself in my mind by repeating that message of Vedanta again and again, and as they say, pushing it into my subconscious level. That is the purpose of Nididhyasana. And for that, the process which is used is, you meditate upon what you are not first, dismiss all Anatma as not me, and then what is remaining, I as a witness, I am Atma. And this process is used in the Upanishads, which is called Neti Neti. Neti Neti process. Na iti, na iti. So we will take one object in our mind. Is this Atma? Analyze that object with the features of that object. Is it me? You say, na iti, this is not me. So the Upanishads give such methodologies to guide us through the roadmap. What I am aware of, what I experience, na iti, I am not. This process, this prakriya, very useful for knowledge. And again, as I said, very useful for Nididhyasana. If I am experiencing worry, I am not worry. Worry is an object of experience. Worry can never belong to me. The experience of worry is worryless. Experiencer of sorrow is sorrowless. They are all external to me. Worry, sorrow, grief, disease. Everything is all anatma, external to me. I am not none of them. I am only experiencing them. And therefore, a jnani may also go through varieties of painful experiences. A jnani may say, oh, there is so much of pain. My back is paining, my leg is paining, my knees are paining. So many. Jnani also will undergo because the body is still there. But even at that time, the jnani remembers the pain doesn't belong to me, it belongs to my body. The pain may be unbearable, Even tears may roll down the eyes of the jnani because of pain. But that knowledge, where does this pain belong to? As Krishna says in the sixth, will say in the sixth chapter, Yasmin stitona dukkhena gurunapi vichalyate. Being thus established in one's swarupa, one is not shaken even in the midst of great calamity. Gurunamapi means even in the midst of great calamity. Yasmin stita, the one who is established in one's swarupa, in understanding, assimilating one's swarupa. Jnani understand that this body is going through unavoidable prabala prarabdha. That is why all this pain, this suffering is there. Jnani says, I am aware of it. But that prarabdha does not belong to me. It belongs to this body. I am painless. I am bodiless. This aware is called jnana nishta. This is what we call absorption in the knowledge of what I am. So having understood all this, now Acharya is raising a rhetorical question. Swatma katham bhavati. How can this objective body be the Atma? Which means what? Objective body cannot be Atma. If the pot cannot be me because it is an object, the body also cannot be me because the body also is as much an object. Katham bhavati. How can the body be me? So who am I? He says bhava vikara vetta. I am the knower of the body. Body is known to me. Not only that, I am the changeless knower of the body. I am aware of the changes happening in the body. Veta means knower. Knower of what? Bhava vikara. We talked about the 6 changes. Tattva Bodha students will recall. And this is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhirastatra na muhyati. In fact, students who are Bhagavad Gita students also, whenever we are discussing, because the discussions are common. Maybe we used a different source for discussion of the same subject, different shlokas. But whenever we are discussing, if you are in the Bhagavad Gita class, if you are discussing this, you must be able to recall, oh, this we discussed in Vivekachudamani also, and vice versa. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara. He says, I experience my baby body. When I was born, the body was not in this shape. As even I was born, after a few months, it started changing. The body started changing. But the I remained the same. In my school days, how my body was, I know. I know how thin I was with all bones, everything jutting out. And now you see how it has bloated. Or other way, I know how fat I was when I was in school. Now it has become very thin. This body has become very lean. So all these changes in the body, I am aware of. And I, the awareing consciousness, is changelessly present in the past, present, and future. And extrapolating that, even when this body goes away, I, the consciousness, will survive. Tatha dehantara praptihi dhirastatra na muhyati. And therefore, bhava vikara veta. As I said, veta means the knower. When I say I am the knower, remember, it is not the changing knower. The I never changes. It is the changeless knower. As I said, also awarer, sakshi, witness, any word you can use if you understand what the changeless knower I am, pure consciousness. Because the body, as I said, has got vikara, changes of bhava. Here the word bhava means the physical body. As I said, Tattva Bodha, sixfold changes are talked about. Asti, Jayate, Vardate, Viparinamate, Apakshiyate, Vinashyati. Shad Vikaras. Etat Stula Shariram, says Tattva Bodha. Asti, potential condition in the mother's womb. Jayate, born. Vardate, grows. Viparinimate, metamorphosis, changes coming. Apakshiyate, decay, diseases and all that. Finally, vinashyati, death. These are the 6 modifications, and I am aware of these changes of the body. Therefore, I cannot be this body. I am the changeless awarer. So with these arguments, with this understanding, Annamaya Kosha as Atma has been dismissed. Annamaya Kosha cannot be Atma. This Stula Shariram cannot be Atma. So Annamaya Kosha is covered. Well, until I learn that Annamaya is a Kosha, I mistake Annamaya as Atma. So I go to a guru. When I go, I look at Annamaya as the Atma. Only after coming to Vedanta, learning Vedanta, Annamaya, the Atma, is converted into Annamaya, the Anatma. I understand now, Annamaya Kosha is a costume. For this birth, I have worn this costume. For my next birth, there will be another costume. I will be born, I will continue to exist. Birth and death are only changes of costumes. This is how we have to completely understand why the physical body, on what basis we can say, I am not the physical body. And this is a very, very important step in Vedanta. Because this will address the problem which we have been undergoing birth after birth for the last crores of births. Till now, till we came to the Vedanta, we have all been under the belief that I am the physical body. So the understanding that this is only a costume I have worn for the purpose of this birth. I will continue to exist in every, just change the costumes, that's all. I keep changing the costumes. Sometimes I wear a human costume, sometimes I wear an animal costume, sometimes I even wear a tree or a plant costume. Sometimes I may be a mosquito costume, I may wear a mosquito costume. Costumes will keep changing, but I remain the same. This is the understanding. So next we enter pranamaya. So as I said, this bodily attachment, giving up this bodily attachment will take years after years rather. It's not an easy thing. It may even take decades rather. When we worry about old age, when we have insecurity, all these are indications of our identification with the body, attachment to the body, the strong attachment to the body. And as this detachment comes, as this understanding comes, the fear of old age and death will go away. When we buy a pair of shoes, we never expect the shoes to last for a long time. We know I will wear these shoes, it will remain new for 6 months, maybe 8 months. Then slowly, it will start wearing out. I will know that as a fact. And that's the same thing we should understand about our body. Then, if the body is there, old age will come, old age problems will come. I don't have that anxiety, or to the best extent possible, I will go to a doctor, there is medical. I will try to address all those problems which come in old age. But I'm not going to be worried, I'm not going to be anxious about it. Once you come to this is an indication of a spiritual growth. That is how slowly you travel in the spiritual path. Now we will go to the next verse, Pranamaya Kosha. Karma, I'm not getting this thing, I'll try. The meter, all different. I think Adi Shankara, through Vivekachudamani, wanted to exhibit his knowledge of all these chandas, different meters that he can compose verses. And also probably showcase that all these possibilities are there. A student who is learning Vivekachudamani or who is a student of Vivekachudamani should be exposed to this aspect of our scriptures also, which is using various meters for expressing this thing. So not only that he has the knowledge of all these meters, he also is presenting it for our benefit so that we also learn different meters. Even though many people see this as a weakness of Vivekachudamani, I see it as a very, very great strength of Vivekachudamani, given the fact that it was composed by Adi Shankara. Adi Shankara will never ever do anything about which he has a doubt. Anyhow, let us go to the next one. कर्मेन्द्रियै पंच विरंचितोऽयं प्राणः भवेत् प्राणमयस्तु कोशः येनात्मवान्नन्नमयोऽनुपूर्णः प्रवर्तते सौ सकल क्रियासु. So the Anvaya of this sloka is Ayam Pranaha Panchabihi Karmendriyaihi Anchitaha Pranamaya Koshaha tu Bhaved yena anupurnaha annamayaha atmavan asau sakala kriyasu pravartate. I am this pranaha, prana, panchabihi, with the five karmendriyahi, organs of action, anchitaha, endowed with. Pranamaya koshaha, the covering made of prana. Tu, indeed, bhavet, would be, yena, by which, anupurnaha, pervaded, annamaya, the physical body born of food. Atmavan becomes alive. Asau, this body, sakala kriyasu, in all activities, pravartate, engages. So the prana endowed with the five organs of action forms this pranamaya kosha, a covering, as though a covering. For what? For the Atma. And pervaded by which Atma, the body becomes alive and is able to engage in all activities. So this 48th and 49th next verse, they deal with Pranamaya Kosha, which, as we have already discussed, figuratively is interior to Annamaya Kosha, because it is subtler than Annamaya Kosha. Pranamaya Kosha, subtler than Annamaya Kosha. So at the time of death, I drop the Annamaya Kosha, but I retain the Pranamaya Kosha. And that is why Annamaya is outer, Pranamaya is inner, and it is retained. Just like, now these are all winter months where I'm staying now. When you enter the house, outside you'll be wearing jacket and so many muffler and cap and all that woolen stuff. So cold outside. But when you enter the house, right in the beginning of the house, there will be a sort of a cupboard kind of a thing. Everybody will remove all that shoes and their jacket and hang there. Enter the house then. So like that, this body or Annamaya is like that jacket and all. And Pranamaya is like the normal dress that we would wear at home, which entering the house is like death. So at the time of death, I will remove all these outer things and enter the body. And the normal dress which I wear at home is like the Pranamaya, which I retain. So he defines Pranamaya Kosha here. He says, Ayam Prana Panjabihi Karmendriyahi Anchitaha. Pranamaya Kosha consists of 10 constituents or portions or parts. What are those? In fact, Tattva-bodha students, all these are nothing but what is contained in Tattva-bodha being presented a little more elaborately with some more details. So what are the 10 parts of this Pranamaya Kosha? Pancha Pranas. We discussed this when I was defining Sukshma Shariram. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. Pancha Pranas, various physiological systems in the body. And Pancha Karmendriyahi, the fivefold organs of action. Where prana is energy, action requires energy. We cannot do any action unless it is backed up by prana. So prana or karmendriya, they are linked together. Action requires energy and energy requires fuel. Therefore, we regularly give it food. The digestive system digests it and produces energy and gives it to the karmendriyani. Therefore, prana and karmendriyas, they go together. And they both, the prana and karmendriya, are nourished by rajoguna. Rajoguna stands for kriya shakti, active power. And that is why from rajoguna the pranamaya kosha has arrived. So ayam prana anchitaha. Anchitaha means you can say it pervaded by or along with pranaha, pancha pranaha. So the 5 pranas along with the 5 organs of action, which are they? Hands, mouth, legs, organ of excretion, organ of reproduction. These are the pancha karmendriyas. So the pancha pranas or pancha karmendriyas both put together, pranamaya kosha tu bhaved. This is pranamaya kosha. And as we saw, this pranamaya kosha remains interior to annamaya kosha. So what does this pranamaya kosha do? He says, yena annamaya anupurnaha. This pranamaya alone supplies consciousness to annamaya. Remember when we are discussing karana shariram and all, I had mentioned the physical body cannot borrow consciousness directly from the Atma. Even though Atma is all pervading, Atma requires an appropriate medium to be reflected. Even though in a dark room, if we want to bring light into that room, sunlight into that room, we have to use only a mirror which will reflect the sun. We cannot use some other object like a wooden object or something. They cannot reflect the sunlight. Similarly, as we discussed, even though Atma is all pervading, the Karana Shariram is the one which has the capability of reflecting that Atma. And then the Karana Shariram passes it on that light to Sukshma Shariram, and finally it comes to the Stula Shariram. And Pranamaya is a part of Sukshma Shariram. That's why I said physical body cannot directly borrow this Atma. So Annamaya borrows it from Pranamaya, Pranamaya borrows it from Manomaya, Manomaya borrows it from Vijnanamaya, Vijnanamaya borrows it from Anandamaya, and Anandamaya borrows it from Karana Shariram. Of course, Anandamaya is Karana Shariram only. Anandamaya borrows directly from Atma. Thus, consciousness has got a channel. Karana Shariram to Sukshma Shariram to Stula Shariram. This is the flow chart. So in terms of exterior, interior, all these koshas from Anandamaya kosha, they gradually flow outwards. Outwards means from most subtle to less subtle, then to the grossest. Therefore, as long as Pranamaya kosha is there in the body, the physical body will be alive, blessed by Atma. The moment prana leaves the body, which is called death, the physical body becomes inert like a pot. So it is said here, Yena Anupurnaha. Anupurna means filled with this pranamaya. Yena pranamayena anupurnaha. So this annamaya is filled with this pranamaya. And when it is filled with pranamaya, ayam annamaya atmavan bhavati. This annamaya is endowed with the atma, atmavan. Here atma means chaitanya, consciousness, sentiency. It becomes alive. And because of that only, we mistake the body as ourselves. I am alive, so I am the body. I am alive, my body is alive, so I am the body. Because what? The borrowed consciousness is called Chidabhasa. Reflected consciousness, you can call. Reflected in the Karana Shariram and borrowed by the physical body, called Chidabhasa. And because of this Chidabhasa, the borrowed consciousness, we mistake the Anatma as the Atma. Just as, we are on a Paurnami day or anything, we'd say, oh, the moonlight is so nice, so cool, so bright. Today, did you see the moon? Bright light. What is the problem? We all know moon does not have any light of its own. What we see as a moonlight, what we consider as moonlight is light borrowed by the moon from the sun. But then we always say moonlight. So the sunlight becomes the moonlight. Similarly, here also, Atmavan Bhavati, Chaitanyavan Bhavati, Annamaya, because it is filled with Pranamaya, is endowed with Atma. So we are considering this body, Annamaya, as Atma. Like that, so many mistakes we commit. And that is one of the important lessons of Vedanta. Even though in practice you might have been experiencing certain things, you should, if you go behind the truth of those things, you will find that these things actually don't exist. What you have been experiencing don't exist. Moonlight doesn't exist. It is what exists is sunlight, which we have actually converted into moonlight. Sunrise and sunset do not exist. Sun doesn't rise, it doesn't move from where it is. But we have converted that into sunrise, sunset, etc. Therefore, what we perceive as reality, empirical reality, if you actually go and examine that, analyze that, we will come to the conclusion that it doesn't exist at all. The whole universe, Shastra says, is like that. These are just examples. So here, when we say Anupurnaha, filled with, so Annamaya, it is filled with Pranamaya. And Pranamaya is endowed with consciousness, so that consciousness also is contained in this Annamaya container. It's like you consider Pranamaya as a liquid, Annamaya as a container. Annamaya is a solid with a solid shape. Pranamaya does not have a clear shape of its own, like the liquid. So it takes the shape of the container in this Janma. In this Janma, my Pranamaya will have the human shape. If I was a buffalo or an elephant in the previous Janma, my pranamaya would have had the shape of a buffalo or elephant. Thus, the shape of pranamaya gets adjusted according to the physical body which it enters in every birth. And this is beautifully stated in Taittiriya Upanishad. Sava esha purusha vida eva tasya purusha vidatam anvayam purusha vidaha. So the order is ena anupurnaha san annamayaha atmavan bhavati. And not only that, asau sakala kriyasu pravartate. This pranamaya alone is active, very active in all our actions, in all our transactions. So when I have consumed food, all the pranas are refreshed and filled with energy, all the 5 pancha pranas. With that energy, I use the 5 karmendriyas and then I become busy. But as I get older and older, the digestive power becomes weaker and weaker. My capacity to eat also becomes less. Many times I don't get hungry at all. As a result, energy also becomes less. And that affects my capacity for action greatly. Even simple activities like walking, sitting down, getting up, all these things become difficult as I grow old. I mean, we have seen people, athletes and all who have won, marathon, they won many medals, cups, etc. See their condition in their old age. Nobody can escape that. Maybe somebody will become, very weak in terms of the action at a particular age. Somebody may take more number of years, but everybody eventually cannot be active, as active in old age as they were in their youth or middle age. Because the prana shakti has become very weak. Of course, if you go into the discussion why this happens, it's all karma and all will come into the picture, the law of karma. But we need not go into that. So, asau sakala kriyasu, in each and every activity of ours, pravartate, it engages itself. So, pranamaya becomes kriya shakti in action. Now he gives one more sloka for pranamaya, as I said, verse 49, which is again in a different meter. It is called Mattamayura Vrittam. And I am going to struggle to chant the sloka in that meter. I have been trying to find out, how to fit this sloka in Mattamayura Vrittam, but as of now, I have not been very successful. Probably I will have to locate Swami Paramarthananda's talk, how he has chanted this. So that will give us an idea. And if I get that in the next class, I will certainly give you a more authentic version of this Mattamayura Vrittam. Today I will chant the best of my ability what that Vrittam is. That's why he said, apart from all the knowledge and all that, if you are a lover of Sanskrit language, if you are a lover of our scriptures, all these are all additional things that we learn from the Vivekachudamani. So let us chant the sloka. Naivatmapi pranamayo vayu vikara Ghanta ghanta vayu vadanta bahiresha Yasmat kinchit kwapi na veti ishtamanishtam swam vanyam va kinchana nityam paratantraha. This is the best I can do. I don't know what is this Mattamayura Vritam, but I'll find out. I mean, some work is required. So the Advaya is Yasmat Pranamaya Vayu Vikara Vayuvat Antah Ganta Bahihi Aganta Kinchit Anishtam Kinchit Ishtam Anishtam Swam Anyava Naveti Nityam Paratantraha Yeshah Api Atma Na Eva. The whole purpose is to establish Pranamaya is not Atma. Yasmat, because Pranamaya, this Pranamaya, Vayu Vikara, modification of the air. Vayuvat, like the air, Antah Ganta, goes in. Bahi Aganta, comes out. Kinchit, desirable. Ishtam, Kinchit Ishtam, something desirable. Anishtam, not desirable. Swam, itself. Anyam va, or of others. Na veti, does not know. Nityam, always. Paratantraha, dependent. Yesha api, this prana also. Na atma eva, can never be the self, the atma. So the pranamaya also can never be the self, because the pranamaya is a modification of the air. Whatever can modify or modifies cannot be atma. The atma is avikara. And this pranamaya goes in and comes out of the body like the air. This pranamaya does not know anything anywhere, anything desirable or not desirable for itself or for others, and is always dependent. So as I said, now Shankaracharya says this pranamaya also cannot be me. That's why Taittiriya Upanishad says Anyontara Atma Manomaya. And Pranamaya, when Taittiriya Upanishad is discussing, it says Anyontara Atma Manomaya. So the Pranamaya is not the Atma. Manomaya alone is Atma. It will say first Manomaya is Atma. Then it will say, take us to Manomaya. And then say Manomaya is also not Atma. What is the logic? We can say Smruti Pramanam says Anyontara Atma Manomaya, Anyontara Atma Anandamaya, etc. That is one source. We can say it is all based on Shruti Pramanam. Don't ask me any question. Shruti says so, that is why it is here. But we can use that also as a supportive Pramanam. We can independently analyze Pranamaya, Manomaya, etc. Once having analyzed and understood, we can say the Shruti Pramanam also confirms this. We can do that. Because Pranamaya I am aware of. In fact, in Yoga Shastra, when we do pranayamam, the emphasis on what? Be aware of your breathing. Breathe in, breathe out. Be aware of your breathing. Be aware of the prana going in and going out. So if I am going to be aware of this, I cannot be the prana. So we can use that logic also as supportive pramanam. Like that, I'm aware of so many things. I cannot be any of them. Okay. I think it's time we will stop here and continue with this sloka in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavadah. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you, Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Thank you, Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thanks, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Any questions? Any raised hands?
Guruji, namaste. This is Lata. I have not raised my hand, but I just have a small doubt, but I think it's quite understood. The Pranamaya Kosha contains the 10 parts. One is the Pancha Pranas, and the second one is Pancha Karmendriyani. So that Karmendriyani also embraces Pancha, what is that? The sense of, what's that?
No.
No.
Jnanendriyani?
The Pancha Dhyana doesn't come under Pancha Prana.
No.
Under
Under
Prana.
Pranamaya Kosha.
It's
Pranamaya
Manomaya
Kosha only Pancha Karmendriyas and Pancha Pranas.
Pancha Karmendriyas and Pancha Pranas. And Pancha Dhanendriyas, they come under Manomaya.
Come later. Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, we'll see later.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Okay.
And thank you for the clarification, Guruji. Hari Om, Guruji.
Thank you. Okay, then we will close and continue in the next class. Hari Om.